Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Now you're watching another LEGO investing review video, but instead of just reviewing the one set, new twist, we're looking at two sets. And we're basically going to pit two sets against each other in a direct head-to-head comparison. And the sets being compared today are the Imperial Transport Shuttle and the Bad Batch Attack Shuttle. Now I'm reviewing these two side by side because they're both under the same theme, they're both Star Wars, they're both retiring at the end of this year, and they are both shuttles. So throughout this video I'm going to give you my thoughts and feelings of which set that I feel might do better than the other, but it's not going to provide a definitive answer of which one to invest in because this just is an entertainment channel, and after all we're just speculating in which one might do better than the other. But I want to try and get a general consensus of what the LEGO community feels about these sets. So for this video I have put a poll up in my community tab section of my YouTube channel. So if you do get a spare moment, if you could vote of which of these sets you're buying, that would be great. And if you've got both sets, if you could vote which one that you think is going to perform better than the other, because it'd just be great, as I said, to get a general consensus over how these sets will perform and which one, you know, the LEGO investing community thinks will perform the best. So let's get stuck into the video. Okay, so we're going to begin with a side-by-side statistical analysis, and we're starting off with the Bad Batch Attack Shuttle. So this one has a recommended retail price of £89.99, $99.99 or €99.99. Comes with 5 minifigures. It was released in August 21, and if it does retire as expected at the end of 2022, that'd give it a shelf life for 17 months. And this set is widely available. It's not a retailer exclusive like some sets, so you can pretty much buy this set in most main retailers in the UK. Okay, and like magic, we now have the Imperial Shuttle. And this is set number 75302. It has a price point of £69.99, $69.99, and it's €79.99. This one only comes with 3 minifigures, and this one was released back in March 21. So if this one retires as expected at the end of 2022, it will have a shelf life of 22 months. And similarly to the Bad Batch Attack Shuttle, this one is not a retailer exclusive. You can pretty much buy it at most big stores in the UK. Okay, so now I'm going to delve a bit deeper into the criteria I just used to measure these two sets against one another, and first up I'm going to look at shelf life. Okay, so I wanted to spend some time on shelf life because I feel it's one of the few areas when it comes to LEGO investing that really does have some sort of universal agreement, and that being that most LEGO investors believe a shorter shelf life is better than a longer shelf life. And I feel this is really because shelf life is intrinsically linked to supply and demand. Because the longer a LEGO set stays on the shelves, its supply increases some more. And in turn, its post-retirement demand drops some more. And this is because, if you just imagine, the longer time a LEGO set stays on the shelves, a larger proportion of the target audience for that set buy it, they acquire it. So when that LEGO set in turn retires, they no longer have the demand for it because they already own it. Whereas if you look at LEGO sets that have shorter shelf life, so they only spend, let's say, a year on the shelf, a higher proportion of the target audience will miss out on that set. And then in turn, that demand for that set, I kind of consider that it really passes over into the aftermarket on Amazon and eBay. But I just want to say that this is not always the case, because sometimes LEGO will pull the plug on certain themes that are really unpopular, and obviously they will then have really short shelf lives. Examples of themes gone by would be Trolls, Video, Hidden Side, where some of these sets had really short shelf lives. Now, those LEGO themed short shelf lives, in my opinion, is definitely a reflection of those LEGO sets being unpopular and therefore poor sellers, and it should not be taken as a positive sign for us as LEGO investors to invest in them because of their short shelf lives. I feel those short shelf lives are only short because those sets are poor sellers. But anyway, let's just adjust our focus back to the LEGO sets that are being reviewed today. And if we go back to the statistics part, we could see that the Bad Batch had a shelf life, if it retires, of 17 months. And the Imperial Shuttle has a shelf life, again, if it retires, of 22 months. So for this part of the comparison, it looks like the Bad Batch is more favourable here. But up next, we're now going to move on to the minifigures that lie within these sets and see if they can influence these sets' investment potentials. Okay, so firstly, we're going to look at the minifigures that are included within the Imperial shuttle set. And as we can see, and as I previously mentioned, it comes with 3. It comes with Luke Skywalker, it comes with Darth Vader, and it comes with a Imperial officer. So now let's move on to the Bad Batch attack shuttle set. And as you can see here, there's kind of 6 in the lineup, but it's a matter of opinion whether you think it comes with 5 or 6. I personally don't regard the Gonk droid at the end there as a minifigure, so for the purposes of this video, I'm going to say it comes with 5 minifigures, but they are a great 5. They are 5 clone commandos, and they are Hunter, Wrecker, Tech, Echo, and Crosshair. Now, when it comes to minifigures, we always ideally want the sets we buy to contain exclusive minifigures, because once those Lego sets retire, anyone that wants a specific minifigure that was isolated to one of the sets we invested in will then have to buy the set they missed out on to get the figure they missed out on, and in turn that can cause a nice bump in price for that set containing that exclusive minifigure. So here, if we try to find out which minifigures are exclusive, the Imperial Transport Shuttle has 2. It has Darth Vader, and it has the Imperial Officer. Now this is according to Brickset. And now if we move on to the Bad Batch Shuttle, I think some of you will be quite surprised here, but it only contains 4 exclusive minifigures. Yes, 4, not 5. So I was surprised when I was reading this as well. But out of those 5, as we said, Hunter, Wrecker, Tech, Echo, and Crosshair, Hunter has recently appeared in the new Justifier set. Now, again, this is according to Brickset, who are a reputable source of information. But I want to do a side-by-side comparison here of Hunter in the Justifier and Hunter in the Bad Batch. Now, to me personally, it looks like it's definitely the same figure, but I'm really not too sure if the colour shading is correct. It might just be something down to the printing on the box. I'm not sure. It's definitely the same mould. Brickset says it's the same figure, so I'm going to take that at face value, that Hunter is not an exclusive to the Bad Batch set. Now, I just want to point out that in my opinion, there is a difference between exclusive minifigures and exclusive characters. Now, exclusive minifigures are where LEGO have released the character before, but now they're releasing it again, maybe with new printing or a new accessory or a new helmet or a new outfit, etc. But that specific character is already available in another minifigure form. Exclusive characters, on the other hand, are where LEGO have only ever released one version of that character. It's not available in any other version. It's either that or nothing, so there's only one version of that character in existence. So if we head back over to these sets here, I regard the Darth Vader and the Imperial Officer as exclusive minifigures, because if we head over to Brickset, we can see that in the past there have been 25 different versions of Darth Vader and 12 different versions of Imperial officers. So that means that anyone that just wants those characters, they don't necessarily have to buy the Imperial Transport Shuttle to get those characters, because those characters, as we can see, appear in many different sets. Whereas the Bad Batch Attack Shuttle, on the other hand, with the exception of, not even with the exception of Hunter, all these minifigures in this set, I regard them as all exclusive characters. They are the only versions of these characters available to date. So if you want at least 4 of those characters, you have to buy the Bad Batch Attack Shuttle, and if you want Hunter, you'd either have to buy the Bad Batch Attack Shuttle or the Justifier to get Hunter. So again, I kind of regard the Bad Batch Shuttle here favourably, because the exclusive minifigures within that set are also exclusive characters. Okay, so now I want to talk about pricing. Now for me, I feel LEGO pricing is one of the most subjective criteria there is when it comes to LEGO investing. This just being because lots of investors have different preferences over whether they like to buy expensive sets or cheaper sets. For me personally, I like to buy sets that are really nestled within, let's say, a £40 to £80 range. Generally, they're the kind of sets I like, because I feel they're expensive enough to have enough parts to resemble decent builds, but also cheap enough to have room to grow and give us a nice return. So to demonstrate my rationale behind this, let's just look at an example of two different Lego sets, one expensive, one cheaper. So for the expensive one, let's look at the Black Panther bust that's recently been announced for a £300 price tag. That's a notorious topic already, but that's content for a different video. But as I said, it fits for the purposes of this video well. That's £300 price point for that one. Let's look at a cheaper one. Let's take the Obi-Wan Starfighter, for example. This one has a recommended retail price of £30, which is obviously 10 times cheaper. Now, whenever both of these Lego sets retire in the future at some point, I'm going to hedge my bets that it's more likely that the Obi-Wan Starfighter will get from 30 to 60 than the Black Panther bust will get from 300 to 600. That is just my opinion, but that would be the same return on investment on both of those sets. But I just feel that the Starfighter could get there, and I can't see the Black Panther set getting there. But as I said, I've just used those sets as just examples. I don't. This is not a review on those sets in general. It's just a review on the price points that you pay for your Lego sets and how they may influence what you can achieve in the future. And as I said, for me, I like the cheaper sets than the more expensive sets. But obviously there are a lot of logistical issues as well that can cause Lego investors to have a different preference. For example, you would have to sell 10 of those Starfighters to achieve the same profit that you would get by selling one Black Panther if they did both reach those price points of 60 and 600. So as I said, you have to wrap 10 more parcels to just the one. But then with the Black Panther set, if you did sell that for 600, while you're only selling and wrapping one parcel, you then could be susceptible to fraud because, you know, it's a high price item. So there really is swings and roundabouts when it comes to investing in either cheaper Lego sets or more expensive Lego sets. But for the purposes of this video and this analysis between these two shuttles, obviously the Imperial Transport Shuttle is cheaper, so that is more favourable here in my opinion. Okay, so now moving on, we're now going to look at have there been any previous versions of each of these shuttles, because when you're considering investing in a LEGO Star Wars vehicle, it can be good practice to look at how the previous versions, if there are any, have performed, because it can kind of give you an idea of how this current version might perform in the future, and, you know, just to see if there is a tried and tested set. So to begin, let's look at the Imperial Shuttle. Now, there have been several different versions of the Imperial Shuttle in the past. So what we're going to do is the usual thing we do on this channel is look at what the recommended retail price would have been on them, and if you sold them in today's market, would you have made any money? So let's start off with the Shuttle 75094. This one, back in the day, had a recommended retail price of £79.99. Now, looking at its current value today on eBay, I would say, or give that an average, let's say £160, which would give you a return on investment of 100% for that one. Okay, next let's move on to 10212. Now this was a UCS version of the shuttle. Now again, this was a very, very impressive model. This one's now over a decade old. I really wish I had one of these still. This one had a recommended retail of £245.99. And again, looking on eBay, if you want to take an average, I would say probably going for about £750. So return on investment of 205% on that one. So that's really cool, that one. Great model. Okay, so up next, we've got quite an old model here, set number 7166. This one had a retail of £27.99. And now, obviously, this one's going to be very rare because it's so old, but looking at the one listing or the few there, seems to be going for about 160. But as I said, not many listing there, so it really is hard to gauge how this one performs on average. But return on investment for that one at 160 would be 472%. Okay, so 2 to go. Let's look at set number 7264, retail of £44.99. Again, looking on eBay for the average, I would say this one goes for about that one there on the USA was 376, which would give you a return investment of 736 on that one, which is pretty crazy. But again, there's really not many other Lego listings there to compare and get a fairer average. And then lastly, we're going to look at this one, which isn't technically Imperial Shuttle, it's Imperial Lander, but it's similar to a degree. And that one's set number 75221. And this one had a retail of $79.99. And if we look here on eBay, again, as I said, all of these have been looked on eBay, average final value fee offers if you sold them, and looks to be going for about 120, which would give you a return on investment on that one of about 50%. So for the Imperial Shuttles, they definitely seem to be worthwhile investments. Those previous models were released at many different years in the last 20 years, and they've all performed quite well. So it looks like Imperial Shuttles are tried and tested, and that bodes well for this Imperial Shuttle moving forward. The Bad Batch Attack Shuttle, on the other hand, there's only ever been one released, and this is the only one. So there's no previous models to compare it to try and give us an insight to how this one might perform in the future. This is the first. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because sometimes when you're investing in Lego, it's good to get the originals, it's good to get the first versions, because they are the ones that can become rarer, that people desire later down the line. So when it comes to really ranking which one is more favourable here, I kind of give it as a tie, because the Imperial Shuttle has performed well, and there's no reason to say why this won't perform well in the future as well. And I can't really measure the Bad Batch Shuttle against any predecessors, but as I said, it is an original, and that's always, in my opinion, a good positive for a Lego set. So I'm going to give it, ranking these two tied on this particular criteria. Okay, now lastly, before I conclude this video, I just want to look at some special considerations for why I think either one of these sets might do quite well. And a big one is the fact that there is a second series of the Bad Batch coming out. We had series 1 in 2021, and a second series is going to debut at some point. Now, I find this interesting because when I looked up the release date for the sequel series a few months ago, it had a date given, it was coming out in fall or autumn this year in 2022. And I expected it already to be released, but it hasn't, so I wondered what's up with this. So I've re-googled the release date again, and it's coming up now that it might be released on January 4th. So I think that is quite an exciting release date for the Bad Batch Attack Shuttle, because if the Bad Batch Shuttle does indeed retire at the end of this year, as expected, sorry, that's one of the spaniels barking, then it retires at the end of this year, and there's going to be a whole new potential fan base, or at least a definite spike of interest again in the Bad Batch, topic as soon as the set retires in early 2023, as soon as the sequel series comes out. So I feel like the Bad Batch could perform and do great things quite quickly if that sequel series is a success and it's well received from Star Wars fans. But then on the other hand, new series often brings new sets. So at this current time, there are still 4 exclusive minifigures in that Bad Batch Attack Shuttle set. As I said, there used to be 5, but then Hunter has now also appeared in the Justifier. Could that happen again? Will they release new Bad Batch sets with the same minifigures in, therefore really decreasing the appeal and value of this Bad Batch Shuttle? Time will tell, but obviously it's not off the agenda because they've already done it with the Hunter minifigure, so that's something you have to be aware of. But anyway, so there you go. Now that is my overview of, and a head-to-head analysis of these two sets. Now, obviously I own both. I both feel they will do good things, but it always depends on the price that you pay for these sets. I think for the Bad Batch Attack Special, £90 is too expensive. It is regularly discounted in the UK for a third off, it's been a third off a few times on Argos, then price matched to Amazon. It's still available at Argos, so if it does get reduced again to, let's say, 60, you can get it with some more gift cards to around 58. I would buy some more. And the price I paid for the Imperial Shuttle, I got them on a 3 for 2 offer, so I got them, I think that's 46, 66 each, which I was happy to pay that as well. If you paid full retail for the Imperial Shuttle, that could be a bit too much. But I don't know, they've done well, but if you really want to get the better return, you obviously always have to buy your Lego sets for a discounted rate. But my overall thought is that the Bad Bat shuttle is the one to get over the Imperial shuttle. I just feel that this set could do great things. But as I said, if you do have a spare moment, please take the time to vote in the poll. That would be awesome to see what the general review is from everyone. And as always, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you soon.